I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm good.
All right. Fire away.
Looked like maybe you got a new edge rusher on the team today.
Yeah, Sharif officially joined us today. Sharif says so. Comes from Falmouth. He'll start from the weight room so we can get him built up and making sure he's healthy and in shape before he kind of approaches the hitting and the contact part of it. So, but he came prepared, so it shouldn't take long to get him on the field.
There's no real firm timetable, just kind of feel out how he progresses.
Yeah, we want to make sure we got kind of like some prerequisites that we want done in terms of him meeting a certain 0.9% velocity, those types of things, so we can keep the muscles fresh and healthy before we add on the pounding. So we'll continue to go through that process.
Well, what will he add, once he's up to speed?
Yeah, speed. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, that kid is really fast. He's quick. The film speaks for itself, so we just got to put him in the right position so he can be successful. And right now, because of how far he is from learning the playbook to where we're almost done with our installations. He's got to have extra time and learn the playbook and then learn the techniques as well.
And he has 1 year. This is it for him, right? So it's kind of get him up to speed pretty quickly.
Absolutely, absolutely. Or minimize the package so that he can be successful. It's one of the two, but we brought him here to play. We brought him here to help us win. So that'll be my job as a coordinator to make sure he fits the process.
We spied him over there in Wasserman.
Yeah.
And a few of your other defensive transfers that have come in at least passed the eyeball test.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about all those guys and how they look, at least physically.
Really good. With the exception of Sharif, everybody has had a really good summer. With Coach Mills here, they put on some muscle mass and they've done some quick twitch muscle type things. So I think the transfers almost all of them will be productive in our success.
Like Drew Tuazama.
Yeah.
Where do you see him? Because he was listed at 290. Now you guys list him at 260.
Yeah, he's got to get down. We got to get him in the 250, 255 range. I think his quickness is an asset for us. 290, he's just carrying too much weight. That put him in a defensive tackle world, and we need more defensive ends. Obviously, losing 5 last year. That's kind of where we saw him coming in. So we just got to get him to that point slowly but surely. Get the muscle mass to be lean and then lose weight.
Collectively, where do the guys stand in their ability to put, I know we're early in camp, but getting pressure on the quarterback is going to be huge. What have you seen right now out of that?
I think it's a good start. I think right now we're still in the evaluation process in terms of finding out if we're going to be a front type of pressure group or do we have to manipulate the fronts. We are very deep in our inside backer room. I think that would be the strength of our defense right now. So as much as I can get those guys on the field, I think it'll benefit us as a defense.
Is Femi still mixing an edge?
Yes. He will learn how to play defensive end throughout camp. I think that's beneficial for him in terms of his future as well as for our defense.
Has he gotten in some drills with defensive line?
He's got some drills, but he needs to go against the offensive line. He needs to feel the pressure and the leverage and those types of things. So he's got to put what we practice in drills, he's got to put that in practice.
Were you pretty encouraged by what you saw of him in spring in that role?
Yes. And then the other part is I think his body helps us kind of solidify the things that we've lost.
What have you seen from Ikaika? I mean, he was healthy for spring. He's
Yeah.
getting a full fall camp in.
I think that'll be the main goal for us. I think we all know how athletic he is, and he's a really special player, but it's his availability, right? That's the best ability for him. So we got to do our part to make sure his pre and post practice is keeping healthy, and then just the reps that we take out on the field. He doesn't need much reps. He played at a high level at Alabama, and we're bringing that here. So it'll be my job again to keep him on the field so we can actually make use of his progress.
You got one guy trying to make an unusual leap from Division III, Luke Sherman. What was it you saw on film, you and Coach Kelly and whoever else evaluated him, that made you think that it could translate to the Big Ten level?
The first thing was his motor. That's the one thing you'll see from him, regardless if he's right or wrong. He won't stop till he gets to the ball. He was one of my examples I use. I want to say last week Thursday's practice, where he went from the opposite 20 all the way to the end zone and ended up punching out the ball. Now the ball was in the end zone, but just the mindset that he had was that he won't stop till he gets the ball. To me, I think that's the keys for him to win. We're trying to get different guys, so we got some size guys for defensive ends, we got some quick guys, and then I need a motor guy. So as long as we can teach him the technique and he can unlearn some things, because ours is a little bit unorthodox, I think he'll be a great addition.
You think he might be able to contribute?
Absolutely, I expect him to. Again, all these guys that are transferring in, that's the expectation of on both sides. That's why they were transferred here to UCLA, and for us, that's why we brought them here. Our film study has been, I think, evaluation-wise, I think we're doing a good job at it, and so we got to try to put our money where our mouth is.
Coach, you talked about the addition of transfers.
Yep.
Talk about the addition of KJ Wallace, that secondary. Was he meaning guys?
Huge. I mean, he has the ability to play nickel as well as safety. So just for us, it's the triangle of, and then how much can one play the other. So for him, being able to play both, that just allows us to manipulate coverages through disguises and whatnot. So that's a huge addition for us.
How about Collins? We've seen him.
Yep. So Collins is
out.
making great progress for
Yeah.
us. He's coming again. The one thing about transfers is just being able to transition their mindset and learn something different, right? And again, I think our teaching is a little bit unorthodox, but I believe in it. So he's trying to, in terms of his transition, he's trying to unlearn some of the techniques and then learn the stuff that we are doing. And I think he's progressing well.
In what ways are you unorthodox in your approach?
I can't see that.
I almost got you.
I can't see that.
When we spoke to Keanu earlier in camp,
Yeah.
he mentioned, he'd been setting some personal bests in the weight room and that sort of thing. Anybody else maybe physically stand out to you where they look, significantly different from where they were maybe in the spring?
Devin would be one. Pugh would be one. The other one would be Jay. Jay is hard because he's so stocky and built like a dang bulldog, so you don't really see the changes, but you can see the transfer from weight room to power that he's added on, or quickness that he's added on. So those guys, I would say, for sure, in the weight room, huge gains.
How about Ciali? What are you seeing from him?
He's awesome, but he's, again, this is last year. The trick would be trying to combine what he's learned at offensive line and then transferring over to defensive line. So he was originally a defensive lineman, went over and helped them. So there's a lot of things that are ingrained in his teaching and his footwork. So on our side, to me, I just got to make sure I can use whatever ability he can bring and mix that into our package, as opposed to really changing him in 1 year. That's easier said than done.
Competition was such a huge thing between offense and defense in the spring. So since that point, how does the offense kind of look? What's it like going up against them at this point, especially that O-line that's kind of being nailed down?
I love it. I mean, from the new additions they brought on their side of the ball to just the schemes, it really exposes you if you're not fundamentally sound. That's really what our camp is about. If we can get better at our fundamentals, then the schemes will take care of itself. From Coach EB's standpoint, he tests our schemes daily in terms of, do we cover down well? Do the matchups add up to on our side, or is it on their side? And so that part of it, that's my job. But for us defensively, if we can just get better at block destruction, tackling, turnovers, like actually creating turnovers, and most importantly, pass rush. I think that's an art that people overlook. And so we pass rush as a team, so everybody can learn the same thing and speak the same languages. But we can get better at that, and I think those fundamentals can transfer over the team regardless of our scheme.
Has the scheme pretty much similar to what
Very
the
similar
defense?
to last year, yeah. Very similar to last
So
year.
that's helped transitionally? would you say?
Absolutely. For me as a coordinator, the more we can do same as, now you can really isolate the fundamentals. If we change a whole scheme, now this will be the fourth coordinator and fourth different package. So for us, the best thing is to keep as much as we can same, and then just work on the techniques that apply to it.
Did you change some of the terminology just to make it yours?
Yes, I did, only because I know for sure I'll say it that way, and I don't want to send mixed messages on what we want.
You're still prioritizing what Coach Lynn called obnoxious communication?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, communication, period. Yeah, it's always good. I mean, I think a lot of people try to keep it a secret in terms of trying to disguise something, but for us, it really comes down to execution. Whether they know what we're doing or we know what they're doing, it still comes back down to execution. So, yeah, for sure, obnoxious communication as we go.
How much cross-training do you think you're going to do with the secondary in this camp?
Quite a bit. I mean, right now our defense is taught that there are 11 X's on the field, and that's how we're going to teach it, so everybody kind of knows each other's responsibilities. So if we mix and we match and we move people based on the matchup, they still know the concept of the defense.
Are there any guys in particular that you are sure are going to move around and get looks at different spots?
The linebackers for sure, and then part of the safety crew. That's the crew that I want to take advantage of. And then there's some corners that are playing really, really well. If we end up getting to a covers type situation, those guys can actually transfer to nickels.
Deshaun mentioned the other day, he's kind of up in the air with Gary's status right now.
Yeah.
I think we saw Sidoveni come back to practice today. Just what's the depth behind there at the defensive tackle spots?
I think the depth, it is what it is. I want to say we're 3 deep there, but again, for us and the staff that I have, Clancy and Brian, and there's so much experience on our side. So for us, if we can't have the body type, is there a scheme to fit what we have done in the past to create the same havoc?
Is John Bonds pretty much up to speed?
He's getting there. He's just a little overweight. Part is just a transfer from baseball to football, but he's definitely coming along. He's very smart and intelligent. So the mental aspect of it, that's a piece of cake for him. It's just the physical part that needs to catch up. One with the weight, and then 2 with just it's all new to him in terms of how we're actually playing inside backers.
Thank you.
Good deal.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Take
Coach.
care
Really
so much.
appreciate it.
God